In today's episode of the Motorhome Matt podcast,
I spoke with Simon Calder at the recent Caravan, Motorhome and Holiday Show 2025.
In the news, Flowgas have recalled gas bottles, and you can save on tickets to the February NEC show.
And we answer your questions on fitting an external diesel tank, fixing a broken Thetford toilet, and upplating from 3 tonnes.
Welcome to the Motorhome Matt podcast. I'm Keith Gooden.
And I'm Motorhome Matt.
Industry insights and expert advice for the world of motorhomes, caravans and campervans. It's brought to you by thatleisureshop.com and sponsored by Ripe.
Please do remember to follow on your favourite podcast app. And if you're watching on YouTube, click subscribe and the little bell. Brought to you by our friends at arabasecreative.co.uk.
The Caravan, Camping and Motorhome Show 2025 is at the NEC from the 18th to the 23rd of February. You can save on tickets with the code MATT, Matt. All you have to do is go to mhmp.info/shows. That's mhmp.info/shows. And remember that code is MATT, Matt.
In the news, Flowgas are recalling a small number of its gold-coloured 4.5 kilo, 7 kilo and 13 kilo butane gas cylinders purchased between the 6th to the 24th of November 2024. This applies across East Anglia, the East Midlands and the home counties and the South East.
Recall cylinders have got a wrong gas mix, which could cause issues with gas regulators and older appliances. Flowgas say stop using it and place it outside. Then contact Flowgas on 0330 041 6629. I'll repeat that. It's 0330 041 6629. Or go to cylinder.recall@flowgas.co.uk to arrange collection and a free replacement.
It's time for our Alan Rogers Campsite of the Month feature here on the Motorhome Matt podcast. And I'm delighted, as always, to be joined by Alan from Alan Rogers. Here he is. How are you, mate?
I'm all right, Mark. Are you?
Mark?
Yeah, well, you keep calling me Alan, so I'm going to start getting my own back on you.
I want to know how many people call you Alan at the shows now.
There's probably about a dozen a day, to be honest. Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Anyway, this is Rob. He's going to tell us a little bit more about our site this month in Portugal. Tell us more.
Yeah, first time to Portugal for us, isn't it? So we're going to Torres Campo, which is an open all-year site. So it's ideal for summer stays or for longer winter holidays. It gets a little bit windy down there in winter, but the temperatures are very nice. It's got about 240 pictures. Most of those have got the electric hookup, and there's 75 which they class as deluxe, which obviously means that it's got the full service facilities of water and waste on the pitch. Really impressive swimming pools. They've got one that's surrounded by a terrace and a bar. There's fully indoor fully heated pool, a children's pool. So if you're into the pool swimming, then it's one of those places to go.
And this is a family-friendly site then, I guess, is it?
It is, yeah, and it's been family-owned since it was founded by the Cole family. It's well over 50 years old, and they're rightly proud of their dining options, and the food is amazing. They've got a restaurant, bar, and obviously a casual sort of, French-style snack bar, so you can get your snacks there.
I know that's very popular with Brits. Escaping British winter.
Yeah, absolutely. It's quite a trek for them. Obviously you're going through Andalusia and Catalonia and what have you to get down there, but it's well worth a visit.
Yeah.
The only other things to say, I guess, are that it's part of a couple of groups. So we've talked about the groups in the past. So we've talked about Yellow Village and we've talked about Leading Campings. They're obviously a very niche group. There's only 38 sites within that group. So obviously you know that you're going to get a really high quality site.
Strong heritage.
Absolutely, yeah.
And where are we on the Alan Rogers pricing matrix?
On the pricing matrix, we're at the high middle section of the pricing matrix. Do you know what that is?
I would guess section? €40-ish.
Yeah, and that's for a pitch with that's for a pitch with 2 people on the pitch and
and electric hookup as well included.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
brilliant, fantastic. So just tell us again the name of the campsite.
That is Torres Campo, and that's in Portugal.
Fantastic, thank you, Rob. So if you want to find out more about Alan Rogers and all their campsites, please do just head to mhmp.info/Alan Rogers.
It's the Motorhome Matt podcast. I'm Keith Gooden.
And I'm Motorhome Matt.
Brought to you with thatleisureshop.com and sponsored by Ripe. At the recent Caravan Motorhome and Holiday Show in Manchester, Matt, you bumped into, well, quite a famous journalist, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Simon Calder, the independent newspaper travel writer and BBC travel correspondent. And you know what? He listens to the podcast.
Well, hey! Cheers, Simon. When I worked for the BBC and we needed some comment on travel issues, he was always our first to go. And Simon, you most of the time, when you answered your phone, which was most of the time, you always said yes. He was one of those people who was great to get on the radio or the TV.
Well, I was on his podcast, so he has a daily podcast, goes at 11 a.m. every day, which is hosted by the independent newspaper. And he missed my talk on connectivity at the recent Manchester show, and he wanted to pick my brain on getting good internet on the move, and he wanted to know more specifically about the product we recently launched here, the Pathway 4G.
So you were on his podcast, but I also understand you asked him to be on our podcast.
I did. I asked him for an interview too. I'm delighted to be joined by the BBC's famous travel correspondent, Mr. Simon Calder. How are you, Simon?
Well, for a start, I think the independent for whom I am the travel correspondent would be displeased by that. I'm lucky enough to be asked by the BBC sometimes to talk about travel issues, and indeed other broadcasters too. Obviously, cheap and available, I think it sums me up. I'll even talk to you, Matt.
That's great. Well, my budget's tiny, so I'm delighted. So tell me, Simon, what's your view of the world of motorhomes then?
I think it is absolutely marvellous that this community exists and that so many people really enjoy the chance to explore in their motorhomes. It obviously allows you to wander further off the beaten track than many of us who don't have motorhomes can manage, and you can do so with some level of comfort and security. So from almost all points of view, it's a marvellous thing.
And have you ever had a motorhome?
I rented one for 3 days to try it out, because obviously I need to experience what people are experiencing. The guy said, you're going to break something. I don't know what it will be, but we know that you will break something. And I did. It was some catch on the fridge or something. I'm not quite the world's worst driver, but I am very poor at driving. I only drive every couple of years, and so it wasn't really for me. But I can understand, I think, the appeal.
And where did you go on your 3-day trip?
I went from Croydon to somewhere in Sussex, and somewhere in Sussex still makes me shudder because, of course, leafy little lanes, and you've got this motorhome. I was so happy when I gave it back.
Oh dear! So you weren't convinced then? You didn't buy one?
Oh look, I'm in negotiation with getting a delivery. Or delivering one of the motorhomes that come out of Chicago or Toronto, and that might work in the US where I've got lots of space. But no, I mean, it's one of these things like scuba diving. I can sort of see that people enjoy it, but I'm not sure that it's for me.
Yeah, I would agree. I absolutely agree.
And
with
Morris dancing, I'm not going to try that either.
You've not got your bells on today?
Thank you, no.
So what's the big news in the travel industry that you've been reporting on so far this year?
Oh, gosh. Well, and this is a really good reason why you should be organising everything yourself, because it's just chaos. We had a very, very messy Christmas with loads and loads of flight cancellations that went through to New Year, and then we got the really cold weather, and then we got rail catastrophes. So it never stops. I wish I could just stay at home. Nobody would ask me to comment on any chaos, because there wasn't any chaos.
Now, we talk a lot on the podcast about going to Europe in a motorhome, and the 90-day rule frustrates most of us. And we've been talking a lot recently about the ETIAS programme and the entry-exit system. Do you think they will be introduced, and if so, when?
Oh, look, they will be introduced eventually, but the entry-exit system, I would be extremely surprised if they even have a pilot scheme running before autumn 2025, and of course ETIAS can't come in until that's been working flawlessly for 6 months, and even then there's going to be a 6-month grace period. So I've got it sort of vaguely in my diary for 2027. But rejoice, everybody, we got Brexit done. So everything has been marvellous since then, as far as I can tell. And being told you can't stay longer than 90 days, well, that's a small price to pay for the joy of sort of blue but looking black to me passport. So I think it's a big win for Brexiteers. Jolly well done, chaps.
And on that note, thank you very much, Simon Calder.
Thank you.
A mic drop moment there. You heard it from another expert, Matt.
Well, absolutely, yeah. So the ETIAS and EES taking, 3 more years before they roll out? That is incredible. So I get asked all the time, do I need to apply for this visa waiver because I'm going to Europe in a few months' time? No, you don't. Not yet. And according to Simon, it's going to be some time before you do.
Yes, and a couple of tips there for you from Simon. If you ever see him driving on the road, give him a wide
Steer
berth.
clear.
And for heaven's sake, if you see him scuba diving, it's been a bad day for him.
Don't even mention his Morris dancing.
Yeah, so thanks very much to Simon Calder for doing that.
Thank you, Simon.
He's very busy. So what does this ETIAS malarkey mean, for you and me? Basically, we don't have to apply for anything. We don't have to pay anything. Just hold on to your trousers.
Ignore it. Yeah. Basically, I think being clued up on what it is and what it's all about is useful, because it is coming. It will be introduced. Off camera, Simon, or off mic, Simon said to me, yeah, it's definitely coming, but it's just the chaos of getting it implemented. And as he said, one needs to run for 6 months before the other can be introduced. So yeah, it's going to take some time, and I think they'll turn it on, turn it off as the chaos ensues. So I wouldn't be concerned about it. Get clued up on what it's all about. You can check out historical content here on the Motorhome Matt podcast where we've talked about it. I talk about going to Europe at the shows, and I talk about this change that is coming. The question is when. So to get Simon's insight, I was shocked when he said 2027, I have to say. Whether it will be that far into the future, who knows? I don't think anybody really does know, but stay tuned. We'll keep you posted.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, ETIAS is completely different from ESTA, which is the system they use to get into America. And yes, you still have to do that. And by the way, it'll be interesting when ETIAS does come in to see if it applies to the common travel zone between the United Kingdom and the Republic of Ireland, because lots of things don't, do they?
That's right, yeah. Well, does anyone know? We'll see.
We'll keep you posted.
We will.
It's the Motorhome Matt podcast. I'm Keith Gooden.
And I'm Motorhome Matt.
And it's brought to you with thatleisureshop.com and sponsored by Ripe.
Get 15% off your insurance premium by using the code MotorhomeMatt over the phone, or simply click the link in the description.
It's time for our Q&A, our questions and answers. And as I say, every week you ask the questions and Matt, the expert, he gives the answers. And if he doesn't know, he will track somebody down who does. First of all, Michael Squire is in Devon.
Hello, Matt. Keith, my name is Michael Squire, and I'm speaking from sunny Devon. I have a question about diesel heater fuel tanks. I gather that some installations use a separate container or auxiliary tank rather than use the vehicle's main tank. So my question, please, Matt, is do you know of a UK regulatory compliant means of feeding the diesel heater from an externally mounted auxiliary tank? Thank you very much.
So, can you power your diesel heater from an external tank, Matt?
That's a really sensible question. Thank you, Michael. Yeah, you can. I mean, the regulations are, as far as I know, are about refilling a fuel tank. So I think it was the Petrol Retailers Association came out with some guidelines for forecourts on how you're allowed to refill a fuel tank, and it causes great chaos when, if you've got an old Land Rover and you have to fill it under the driver's seat because that's where the access to the fuel tank is, or a classic car and it's in the boot or under the engine bay, that's at odds with the regulation. But as far as I know, that's the only regulation for this, other than storing it. If it's up to 10 litres, it can be in an appropriate plastic container. If it's over 10 litres, it has to be in a metal container. And I'm not aware of any other regs. So, yeah, I think as long as it's fixed somewhere that in an impact, it's not going to be compromised. So I wouldn't put it up right at the front bumper or even on the rear bumper. I've got an old Austin 7, and that fuel tank is accessed outside, but it's right at the back of the car. And it's often, bothered me that if someone went up the back of it, they're going to get petrol everywhere. But that's how cars used to be designed, I guess. And now they're underneath the vehicle in the middle for safety reasons. So they've got a kind of a crash impact zone before and behind them.
Crumple zones.
Crumple zone, that's the one. So I would suggest there probably isn't a regulation, but I would do some more Googling on this. I think common sense should prevail. I'll tell you one thing I came across recently. A friend of mine had a VW van converted by a company called Scandi Vans, and they're going to be at the NEC show. I think it's their first time. It is beautiful, and she has an AdBlue tank on her VW van. It's a petrol vehicle, and it doesn't use it. So they used it for the heating. And I thought that was a genius idea. It's a dormant fuel tank designed to take AdBlue, but they've utilised it for diesel for the heating. I thought that was a clever idea. So maybe that's an option for you as well.
Thanks for the question. Adele Ellis is in Lincoln. She's got quite a long question. I'll start off, Matt, and you can finish it. Okay. We bought our motorhome a year ago and have managed to fix all the minor problems ourselves using your podcasts and others. However, this weekend our Thetford C250/260 toilet stopped functioning properly. The handle on the toilet basin that turns the flap open and closed won't move, either with the cassette in place or not. After doing some research, we discovered the part we needed.
I know what this is. However, it says on the supplier website that we need a technician to fit it. I wondered if this is true, only it looks like it's connected by one screw. Also, how do we know if ours is broken or jammed? If we do need a technician, what type do we need? Our local motorhome supplier in Lincoln has closed due to bankruptcy. We have no idea what the likely charge to have it replaced or repaired would be. Great question. This is really common. So underneath your toilet, underneath the bowl, in the chamber where the cassette goes, is a little kind of half cog. And that is a half-shaped cog. So it's not a full circle, it's half. And it is held in by one screw. You are quite right. And it can jump on the teeth. So the lever that you use to open and close the blade on the cassette, that lever operates the little handle on the cassette. The teeth that join the two they jump. And so it goes out of alignment. It is super easy to fix. You need a screwdriver, a PZ2 screwdriver, and a pair of gloves. And get in there, undo the little screw. Try not to drop it. If you do, you have to take the cassette out to do this, obviously. Readjust it so it aligns properly, and then put your cassette in and see if it works. If it doesn't open the blade fully, just adjust the cog a little more, and you'll find the right place for it, all working again. It's really common.
Always a problem with plastic cogs. I know they had a CD that did that. The drawer wouldn't open, and I had to send it off. And it cost me about £200 to have repaired it. It was a 20p cog.
Yeah. Well, this part is not expensive, and I imagine if you were going to pay a technician to do it, they're going to charge you an hour. So whatever their hourly rate is, which is going to be anyway, I guess, between 50 quid and 150 quid, depends where you go. But it is a simple job to do, yeah.
Ed's in Manchester. Is the procedure to upplate a vehicle from 3 tonnes to 3.5 tonnes the same as changing 3.5 to above?
Okay. Principally, yes, it is the same. It's about the maximum weight the vehicle can be, and that's led by the VIN plate. So you go and check the plate on the vehicle. Can it go to 3.5 tonnes? The difference is that you're not changing tax class. So you're staying within private light goods if you're staying under 3.5 tonne. So if you're going over that, you need a C1 to be able to drive it. So check the VIN plate and check your own driving licence. If you're unsure, then speak to a specialist. Give someone like SV Tech a ring. They are super helpful, and they will happily give you some advice on this and talk you through it, or even do it for you if you need their help.
Now, if you've got a question or need some help, and remember, it's not just the questions that we put on the podcast that are answered. You do answer some ones that come in, don't you?
I do try to, yeah. And we have a backlog of hundreds, though, and I am trying to work through them. The volume of questions we're receiving now is massive. It's amazing. We really appreciate getting them, and we try and work through them on the podcast. So I am trying to go through the backlog. So if I've not answered your question yet, I apologise, but bear with me. But if you do have a question, and I know I say this before, if it's your question, thousands will have it too. So please ask it. It's mhmp.info/Ask Matt. Just click the orange button and record it. Please tell us where on the planet you are, or you can fill in the form and we'll read it out for you.
And if you're looking for trusted brands and services, then make sure you visit the Motorhome Matt approved directory at mhmp.info/approved. That's mhmp.info/approved.
And finally, we always ask you to do this. If you're watching on YouTube, please click subscribe and the little bell, brought to you by arabasecreative.co.uk.